know me, some of you may not. My name is Galo. I am an active member of Windy City Reptiles, and I am also the Upper Midwest rep for USARC. Now, USARC is the United States Association for Reptile Keepers. What that means is that it is an organization that was started and is now headed by Andrew Wyatt that has become our representative in Washington. As you guys know, a lot of laws come through, a lot of people lobby for what they want, then it goes to a vote, and then that's when you get your outcome. That is the way politics works. That is the way that we need to function in order to protect our hobby, our interests in reptiles. So, USARC was formed because that was lacking for the reptile community. And since the onset of USARC, there's been a lot of successes in putting a stop to a lot of impulsive bans on reptiles, mainly larger lizards and larger snakes. So when you hear give to, donate, join the fight with USARC, that's who we are. The ways you can help us out are becoming a member of USARC. You just go to usarc.org and you can sign yourself up. Also, you can just go on there and make a donation to the association. The amounts start at $1. You know, everybody thinks, well, $1, what's the big deal? You get 10,000 people to give you $1, that's $10,000. So, you know, that's how we function. That's what helps us continue to do what we need to do in Washington and in local governments to protect our hobby. Unfortunately, that was bypassed this year. I'm sure a lot of you have heard about the python ban. Well, what happened in that case was that the powers that be in Florida decided to take the local fight and make it national. So all of a sudden they want to take these animals, add them to the Lacey Act, and ban them nationally. The argument from the opposition is that they're intrusive, that they're very dangerous, and threatening to the ecosystems that they have now grown into. Unfortunately, what they did was they turned it from a Florida issue in the Everglades into a national issue. And what they did by that was that they basically rolled up the rule and then pushed it right to the president's desk. And basically said, do this, do this, do this, do this, over and over and over again. The original ban had nine of the giant snakes in it. Again, basing it mainly on what would be the Burmese python issue in Florida in the Everglades. They decided to take that and turn it into a list of 9. So this was started in Florida by, I want to call him Mr. by Salazar and by the HSUS, the Humane Society of the United States. A lot of people think Humane Society good, but unfortunately a lot of what's coming out now is that the Humane Society makes millions upon millions of dollars, and very little of that actually goes to help the local shelter. So what that does is that raises the question of where is all this money going? Well, a lot of what this money is going to
is to take away our rights to be responsible animal owners of any kind. But it hits us because the focus came to, our snakes. What happened was pressure from all of the money and the political power in Florida went straight to the president's office, and the president kind of figured he was giving in by putting 4 of the 9 constrictors in the rule and signing off on it. What this does is it totally bypasses the process in which a bill or a law goes to the Senate, where it gets voted on, and according to that vote, may or may not become a law or a rule. This basically says this is an emergency thing that needs to happen. The president signs off on it, it's a rule. And that's what happened January 17th. That rule will go into effect March 23rd. Okay? Not right now, not on the 17th, not tomorrow. Whatever you hear, remember that date, March 23rd. That is the day that the law that the rule goes into effect. Also, right now, the main thing, if you have these animals, because a lot of states are now trying to put their own laws in for their own states, is to find out what your county, your city, your state has on the books for regulating these animals. If it's nothing, good for you. If it's something, be aware of it. Because the only way that they're going to be able to make this thing bigger is by showing that people are constantly doing this thing illegally. So now the mission is to prevent this from growing. Because what happens is we don't want people to think that because this is just Burmese pythons, they're not going to come out after anything else. They're after everything. The door is now open, their foot is in it, and they want to run through. So the fight needs to continue. I think in our hobby, we've gotten to the point where our breeders aren't really connected to our suppliers, that aren't really connected to our pet owners enough that together we are a huge group of people and we can make our voice heard. USR takes that and presents it to the government. We have lobbyists that are working to protect our rights to own these animals. The Humane Society of the United States' goal is to eliminate pet ownership. That includes everything. So they could start with snakes, move on to exotic furry animals, can decide to move into birds, into amphibians, into everything. We cannot let this happen. The fact that they were able to bypass the whole process of voting a law into effect should raise a giant red flag on human rights alone. Because basically we are now being told, if we think something is bad for you, we're going to take it. We can't have that. Because then what is it going to spread into? Those are the 2 main points. That is the main focus of what's going on. We don't want this to happen. We don't want this to continue to grow. Right now, it's the berms, it's the rocks, it's the, it's the anaconda. What's next? The reef tape, the boa constrictor. What's next? Larger animals, larger reptiles, lizards. The list can be endless. The foot is in the door now. But you have somebody that is willing and able to fight for you. And it requires all of your support. Any way you can. Spread the word, get the message out that breeders, hobbyists, as well as professionals in the field need to come together. We need to create numbers. We need to make our voices heard. Our voices were heard enough that 9 became 4. You know, it's not a huge win, but it's still, we still had some impact. And that's what we need to keep focusing on and fighting for. Because they are just basically deciding to take our rights away. And we can't let that happen. Not for anything. Because we don't know, once this ball gets rolling, where it could end up. Another thing is that this national law has now sparked a bunch of local governments to start enacting rules and regulations for their own cities and counties. So right now, can you own these animals? Yes. But look into your local counties, cities, states, and find out what their rules are. Join the fight, please. Because we don't know where it's going to stop. And unless we band together and help it stop,